welcome to Chalke Valley, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I believe this is your first time appearing at the festival. So
it is indeed.
What are your first impressions?
I think it looks fabulous. I mean, it was wonderful driving. You do have that sense of driving into the heartland of English history. So you come down, that's maybe my imagination, my overactive imagination. But it was lovely, and then you come and all the cars and all the tents and the people, and no, fabulous. So really exciting.
Good, good. So you have a podcast called Happened Here?
That's correct, yeah.
Where you tell stories from the past of what happened at a specific location. Can you tell me the background of what brought you and two other people together that do it? And what made you start creating it? What was it?
Well, I suppose, I mean, a long time ago I did history as an undergraduate, so I've always loved my history. And then really with a friend of mine, and with Joanna Lumley and Stephen Fry, we sort of started up something some years ago, which the ecosystem wasn't quite right, but now with the podcasting ecosystem, it's ideal to try and craft these short 4.5 minute, we hope beautifully crafted stories, really rooted in a place, answering that wonderfully simple question, I wonder what happened here. We're actually quite a big cast now. We've got Joanna and Stephen, but we've got a very cool young cast of performers from lots of different backgrounds. A young woman called Jazz Elcock, who was on the finals of Britain's Got Talent when she was only 14. And one of the colleagues I'm with here today, she's an opera singer. So we've got a really cool, inclusive cast from lots of different backgrounds.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really engaging thinking on the topic of what happened here, literally under our feet, like throughout history. Could you tell us what's happened right here in Chalke Valley?
Well, we hope, not all of it, because there's a lot of history.
A bit of it, yeah.
What we're hoping to do today, in fact, is one of the things we're doing, which is a slight diversion for us. We're going to be telling a story about an Anglo-Saxon burial, which was in a stone's throw of here on Swallowcliffe Down. We're going to be telling the story of Wynflaith's will, so two very powerful Anglo-Saxon early middle-aged women. But we're also going to, on the advice of a local historian, not a local historian, a very well-known historian, Alex Langman's, going to be reading out Old English words, which he's pretty sure will not have been heard in this valley by an audience for 1,000 years. Wow. Because Olivia reads Old English.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's amazing. I'm looking forward to that talk as well. So your stories are quite detailed. I've listened to a couple of your podcast episodes. Where exactly do you get your information from, and how true are the stories?
When we do the research, there are various different kinds. We do really genuinely try and do our research very carefully. I'll give you a small example of a kind of place you can get tripped up. There's an urban myth about Duval, who's a highwayman, being buried in St Paul's Church in Covent Garden. It's a 200-year-old myth. Thankfully, the local vicar said, you've fallen prey to the myth. So we rejigged it and the story of what actually happened to him. But we really do, even if we're inventing a character, we really work hard to try and get the research right. But there are real characters in stories, and there are characters we've invented to put in a real historical context. But we take the research really seriously. So one of the dangers, of course, with internet research is that things just, repeat each other. So you've got to do some book research, you've got to use the British Library, you've got to use JSTOR, you do your research properly. Yeah.
I have heard that you might have a few surprises up your sleeve for your talk later. Are you able to give us a sneak peek of what that might be?
Well, he won't be here, but we will play in a little bit of Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry is one of the founders of Happened Here. And this is one of his favourite stories, which is about an LGBTQ plus club from the 1930s. And it was raided by the police, and there was a very famous trial in which a number of people who were arrested were taken to trial. And there's a particularly beautiful, very touching story about these love letters that were found torn up, stuffed down by the side of sofas by the police, and were then read out in court. And Stephen does a very, very beautiful story about that. But yes, the words, we hope, as I say, the words that haven't been heard for 1,000 years as we read the bounds, that really will be a first.
That's going to be amazing. I think that is all of my questions. Thank you for speaking to me. It was lovely, and I will see you at your talk later.
Super. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for having us.